Turtle Beach Atlas Air promises audiophile-grade, ultralight, open-back wireless gaming in one headset. Either we have finally reached budget-friendly endgame audio for PC gamers, or this is just another round of overhyped plastic on your head. On paper it sounds insane. Around 300 grams open-back design, 40 drivers, low latency 2.4 GHz wireless, Bluetooth, 3D spatial audio, and up to 40 hours of battery. Sounds like the perfect all-in-one, right? But here is the thing. When a headset tries to do everything, something usually snaps. And not just the headband. I have been daily driving the Atlas Air for 2 solid weeks as my main PC gaming and work headset. I have put the direct link to check current pricing in the description. But before you click anything, let me show you what I discovered after those 2 weeks of testing. Now, to be fair, let us talk about what Turtle Beach says this thing is supposed to do. The Atlas Air is marketed as an ultralight, all-day comfort wireless PC headset with high-res, open-back audio for competitive and immersive gaming low latency, 2.4 GHz wireless plus Bluetooth for easy multi-device, use crystal-clear noise-canceling mic and powerful software customization, pretty bold claims for a mid-priced gaming headset. On the surface, it sounds like it should crush the usual closed-back gaming headsets and maybe even nip at the heels of some audiophile gear. But here is where things get interesting. Reality check. They claim ultralight all-day comfort. What you actually get is, yes, it is light, but comfort is going to be very head-shape dependent. The floating strap and soft fabric pads feel great for the first hour or two. After longer sessions, the clamp force and shallow pads start to press, especially if you have larger ears. Picture this. 3-hour session of Apex, you lean back, and suddenly you are very aware of the edges of the ear cups. For a headset that markets all-day comfort, that is a red flag. Next claim. Open-back, high-res audio for competitive and immersive gaming. Let's be real. Open-back and wireless is already a tricky combo. Open-back should give you a wide, airy soundstage and more natural audio. The Atlas Air does get you that extra width compared to closed-back gaming headsets like the Stealth series or Logitech G435. Footsteps and directional cues feel more spacious and less in your head. But here is the twist. Bass is noticeably lighter than a lot of gamers expect. Explosions and gunshots have punch, but not that chesty thump you get from something like a closed-back HyperX Cloud or Razer Black Shark. They talk about high-res 24-bit audio, but let us be honest, over 2.4 GHz wireless, everything is getting compressed anyway. That 24-bit label mostly applies over USB with compatible content, and even then, your average game mix is not taking advantage of that bit depth. High-res badge, mostly marketing fluff. Then there is the battery life. Up to 40 hours is what they like to print on the box. In real-world use, with 2.4 GHz wireless, around 70% volume, a bit of EQ tweaking in the software, I was seeing more like 24 to 28 hours before needing to charge. That is not terrible by any means, but it is nowhere near a consistent 40 unless you are listening quieter or mixing in more Bluetooth. So when you do the math, that big battery claim is best-case scenario, not typical gamer usage. Here is where it gets mathematically impossible. You cannot have max volume, constant wireless gaming, spatial processing, and still expect those headline numbers to hold. Mic quality. They push this true speak noise-canceling mic idea. In practice, the detachable mic is fine for Discord and in-game chat, but it is not content creator level. My tests and a sweep through multiple review sites and Amazon reviews show the same pattern. People say it is clear but a bit thin with some sibilance on S sounds. Also, the noise reduction works, but if you have a loud mechanical keyboard, your squad is still going to hear it. This is not some magic broadcast mic. Finally, the multi-device fantasy. They brag about low latency 2.4 GHz plus Bluetooth so you can game on PC and take calls from your phone. That part technically works, But here is the thing. Juggling sources is clunky. There is a slight delay when switching, and a few users, and I experienced this once, reported brief random dropouts when both PC wireless and Bluetooth were active. That is not switching, that is expensive confusion. Let us break this down a bit more. Sound quality here is what nobody tells you. This is tuned way more like a competitive headset than a cinematic bass cannon. The mids and highs are forward, so footsteps, gun reloads, and voices pop nicely in games like Valorant and Warzone. Positional audio benefits from the open-back design. You really can tell front from back more easily than with a lot of similarly priced closed-back sets. But music lovers who want lush bass are going to feel underwhelmed without EQ. Compared to similarly priced competitors, the Atlas Air wins on soundstage, loses on raw bass impact. Battery life in my tests, gaming 3-4 hours per night over 6 days, I got just under a week before the low battery warning. That roughly lines up with that mid-20s hour range in real usage. The fast charging is decent, about a couple of hours for a full charge. But this is not one of those criminally generous 60-plus hour monsters some brands are putting out now. The marketing does not lie, but it is very best case. Build quality mostly plastic but not cheap feeling. The frame flexes a bit, no scary crack sounds when you adjust it, and the fabric on the pads is breathable. However, long-term durability is a question mark. Several early user reviews mention minor creaks and the pads flattening faster than expected. If you are rough on your gear, this is not a tank. It is more like a lightweight sports car, great until you start hitting potholes. Software and extras. The Swarm-style software gives you EQ, mic tuning, and spatial audio options. Here is what the marketing does not mention. The app is usable, but not the most intuitive, and I had it crash twice when messing with custom EQ profiles. A bunch of user reviews echo this performance good, software a bit buggy. So if you love set a 10, forget it, you are fine. If you like to min-max every audio band, be ready for some frustration. So, verdict. Should you buy the Turtle Beach Atlas Air or skip it? I would call this a buy with caution, not an automatic no, and definitely not a must-buy for everyone. Pros: lightweight, genuinely nice open soundstage for competitive gaming, decent mic for chat, and solid enough battery for most people. Cons: basslight tuning, comfort that will not work for every head and ear size, software that feels unfinished, and marketing claims that paint a slightly prettier picture than reality. At its typical price, it is good value if you specifically want an open-back wireless PC headset and you understand the trade-offs. Less isolation, lighter bass, and some software quirks. If you want big cinematic boom or you game in a noisy room, save your money for a closed-back option instead. Make your headset work for you, not the other way around. Stay savage out there. If this review saved you from wasting money or helped you find something actually worth buying, I have put the link to check current pricing and read more real user reviews in the description. And hey, if you do decide to buy through my link, it helps fund these deep dive investigations without costing you anything extra. Drop a comment if you are running the Atlas Air already, or if you want me to compare it head-to-head with something like the HyperX or Logitech lineup next. Hit like, subscribe if you are into no-nonsense gear breakdowns, and I will see you in the next one. This is your channel name, cutting through the hype so you do not have to.